Now on CoastTV News.
Pier problems at Cape Henlopen State Park. How many millions of dollars could be spent for repairs?
Pot sales budding in one Sussex County town. Why the area welcomes weed as a hopeful boost for its local economy.
Well, we saw a mix of sun and clouds today, a few sprinkles over the peninsula, but I'm tracking some pleasant weather as we push into the weekend, but a high risk of rip currents. And then when the 90s make a return, we'll talk all about it in my full forecast in minutes.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
Parts of a pier in Cape Henlopen State Park still closed. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. We begin tonight with ongoing fishing pier problems and how the state's handling the issue.
If you've been to the pier at Cape Henlopen State Park, you probably have noticed the over 5,000 square feet that's closed. And new tonight, the Delaware Division of Parks held a meeting on when and how the fishing pier could possibly reopen fully. CoastTV News' Brandon Ferguson in our newsroom. Brandon, areas of the pier have been closed since 2023.
Maddie, 3 areas around the pier are closed due to the wooden pilings that make up the pier are damaged and need to be repaired. A planning process for those repairs are underway after an analysis was taken this past March. New today, the Division of Parks and Recreation has outlined 2 options moving forward. Repairing the pier, which will cost $1 million that the agency says they do not have. Or option 2, a full rebuild of the dock. That would be even more expensive at $22 million, which leaves more questions than answers. But one man fishing today at the state park says the pier just needs to be fixed.
It gets crowded out here, and if we had more pier to work with, it would be better. People could stretch out a little bit more.
The agency says they're planning a meeting with stakeholders of the park for this fall to find out what the future of that pier holds. Now, stakeholders are people that work at the park and notably the Friends of Cape Henlopen volunteer group. Back to you guys.
Brandon, thank you. Also in Cape Henlopen State Park is the McBride Bathhouse. A potential renovation has been the topic of discussion for a very long time. DENREC says it's wrapped up field work for a structural assessment. A full report on the bathhouse is expected by Labor Day. This site is just one of several being surveyed this summer as part of ongoing environmental and cultural reviews. Those findings will help guide decision-making on building the new bathhouse and where that would go.
The Farm Dispensary in Frankfort is the latest and one of the only recreational weed shops in Sussex County now that the pot market is open here in Delaware. CoastTV News reporter Emma Aiken is live in Frankfort. Emma, the business and the town say this is mutually beneficial.
Charlie, I'm here at the Farm Dispensary that just opened less than a week ago. And unlike other shops in Sussex that were previous medical dispensaries, the farm is now opened as both medical and recreational. And Frankfort is one of the only towns allowing marijuana sales in its limits. And we spoke with the town manager and he says if the state allows it, then Frankfort encourages it, and he thinks it'll be great for the local economy. Being able to purchase recreational marijuana is the new reality for Delawareans choosing to take part. The Farm Dispensary is one of the only dispensaries within municipal city limits, as many towns have banned shops like this. We spoke with CEO Jennifer Stark, who says they picked Frankfort because there wasn't a dispensary nearby, and Frankfort town manager Sheldon Hudson says support for the farm was easy, and he sees shops like this as a beneficial boost to the Frankfort economy.
So my hope and my role as town manager is that this will snowball. This will be the tip of the spear, and we'll see a lot more retail growth in the months and years to come.
It is important to note that sales from this, the taxes go to the state, but just like any other business, local fees and permits go to the town. And Hudson says he hopes any customers here means more people in Frankfort at large. Reporting in Frankfort, Emma Aiken, CoastTV News.
To learn about regulations in other towns and cities on Delmarva, head to coasttv.com and just search Weed Watch. This brings us right into our CoastTV poll. We want to know, what should Frankfort do with dispensary revenue?
Let's take a look at the results so far. 68% say support town services, 15% say improve roads, 7% say add police, and 10% say fund parks.
If you haven't voted yet, if you want to leave a comment on this one, go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app.
Let's go ahead and take a live look into Dover and check in with our First Alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobuono, on our First Alert weather. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening, Maddie and Charlie. Definitely seeing a bit more sunshine today, unlike we saw yesterday when we stocked in the clouds. So mix of sun and clouds out there, still dealing with that haze from the wildfires across the area. We're at 77 in Ocean City. You see temperatures right now, 75 Rehoboth. We're at 77 Milton to 79 in Seaford. Continuing to see that onshore flow. Gusts today, we've seen gusts upwards of 20, 25 miles an hour. Those winds will subside through the evening and into the overnight. Now, we're still seeing moderate air quality across the area. We were in that unhealthy for sensitive groups level tomorrow, and the air quality is only going to improve from here on out. Thanks to that easterly flow, we're going to kick this wildfire smoke out to the west, and really a pleasant evening shaping up. We'll fall to around 75 by around 7, expecting partly cloudy skies overnight. In fact, some of areas, I think, away from the coast will fall into the lower to mid 60s, so it's going to be a very nice evening. Pleasant dry conditions persist tomorrow through the weekend, and we are looking at that high risk of rip currents, all thanks to that coastal storm that's pushing out to sea. And then if you miss the heat and humidity, it's coming back next week. We'll talk more about that in the full 7-day forecast a little bit later on the newscast. Charles.
Thank you, Chris. State police are investigating a murder-suicide in Frederica that left 3 people dead. Just before 11 p.m. last night, police responded to a welfare check at the High Point Mobile Home Park. They said they found an 81-year-old woman, an 18-year-old man, and a 53-year-old woman, all dead from apparent gunshot wounds. Investigators say the 53-year-old woman died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Governor Wes Moore is investing $17 million in Maryland's public schools, trying to make them more energy efficient. The governor says the money will support 30 projects in 11 school districts, including installing rooftop solar and electric HVAC systems. The upgrades are expected to lower emissions and cut energy bills by over $100,000 a year and teach students about sustainability. The global trade system is shifting after President Trump's tariffs hit nearly every country, and many Americans are feeling it in their wallets. Ryan Nobles has more information on the president's plans to meet with Vladimir Putin to try and end the war in Ukraine.
At the stroke of midnight, President Trump upended a global trade system that had been in effect for decades as his higher tariffs hit every U.S. trading partner. The president celebrating the move on social media, saying billions of tariff dollars are now flowing into the United States.
We have a country that is going to be very rich.
And Trump isn't done taxing countries yet, using tariffs to pressure companies to bring manufacturing back to the U.S.
We'll be putting a tariff on of approximately 100% on chips and semiconductors.
We've just gotten out of balance. We've stopped making things in the U.S.
These baseline taxes, which have been delayed for months, will be 10%. But countries like Brazil and India, even the European Union, face much higher tariffs. American consumers already paying more could face even higher costs on everything from clothes to coffee to cheese and wine.
It doesn't feel like you're standing on solid ground. It's hard to make decisions.
There were things that I thought I was going to buy, and I'm like, I can do without it.
I wish that this wasn't happening. It's hard to find the balance.
A new CNBC poll shows the president losing ground on the economy, tariffs, and cost of living.
They're concerned that inflation is rising faster than their incomes. They are negative on tariffs by a 45 to 51, and they see tariffs as hurting workers and raising prices. So the whole tariff story is not playing well with the American public.
And on the eve of the president's deadline to the Kremlin to end the war in Ukraine or else, Trump says he will meet with Russian leader Vladimir Putin. The Russian leader confirming the meeting and implying it could happen in a few days, but no date has been set. Trump initially wanted Ukrainian President Zelensky to join the talks, but Putin says he has conditions before he talks with Zelensky, and those conditions haven't been met. President Trump gave Russia an ultimatum to end the war by Friday or face secondary tariffs. And despite talks of a summit, the war rages on, and the president is set to impose those tariffs as soon as tomorrow. Ryan Nobles, NBC News, Washington.
An Army soldier with top secret clearance now accused of espionage, what he allegedly tried to send to Russia.
Well, White Marlin Open continues. Temperatures in Ocean City, upper 70s. All the issues are off the coast, where we could be dealing with swells as high as 4 to 7 feet. We have small craft advisories. We will talk about that dangerous threat of rip currents through the weekend in my full 7-day forecast.
But first, a mother's mission to honor her fallen son. How one local family is turning grief into a lasting legacy. Up next.
From the time he could talk, Joey Marquez's family tells us he dreamed of serving the United States in the military. But tragically, 3 years ago, Joey lost his life in a training accident. And ever since then, his family has worked tirelessly to keep his memory alive. And in this week's Coastal Connections, Elisa Weber introduces us to Joey's mother and shows us how we can help honor her son's legacy.
And we spent a lot of time down at the beach.
Ever since Joey was little, his mother, Kristen, says his lifelong dream was to serve.
Ever since he could talk, that's all he ever said. So we just knew that's what he was always going to do.
At just 17, Joey enlisted, turning that dream into a reality.
Everything he did, he was just a very thoughtful, dedicated, loyal young man, very giving. And nobody was surprised that he wanted to sacrifice to serve our country.
While doing practice training in Yakima, Joey was tragically killed during an accident at the age of 19. Ever since his passing, his mother and family have made it their mission to make sure Joey's memory lives on. Since Joey passed away in April 2022, his loved ones have honored his memory by organizing a Memorial 5K, an event they say is especially meaningful because of his deep love for sports.
I've been very fortunate and blessed that Joey's been honored in a lot of ways, and he's been memorialized in a lot of ways, which I don't think all the families have. But this is something that I will do until I can't do it anymore.
Joey's family is now using the money raised from the race to fund a memorial for him at the Delaware Veterans Memorial Cemetery in Millsboro. The memorial will actually be a Gold Star Families Memorial Monument, honoring not only Joey, but all Gold Star families, which are the immediate family members of U.S. service members who died while serving in the armed forces.
Joey's mother says she often comes here to the Kent County Veterans Memorial to stand by the brick that honors her son, which you can see right here.
Joey often went by Dims, which his mother says was a nickname given to him at birth.
They brought him out to see my mom because she was waiting to see him, and he moved his mouth and she was like, "Oh my goodness, look." And he had these double dimples. He had dimples in his ears, he had dimples on his shoulders, he had dimples in his back. So we just always called him Dimps and Dimples.
From hats to dog tags and tattoos, Kristen carries her son with her every day. But the pain of losing him never gets easier.
He was just a true hero. I mean, he was just an amazing person. He was just a bright light. Sorry. I mean, he's very missed every day.
Right now, Joey's mother says they have about $20,000 left to raise for the monument. And you can help by participating in the PFC Joseph Dimps Marquez Memorial 5K on August 10th in Rehoboth Beach. For Coastal Connections, I'm Elisa Weber.
Not too bad out there on this Thursday afternoon, seeing some blue skies, and that is good news. That haze kind of going away there, just a few cumulus clouds. The concern, though, is going to be the risk of rip currents. High risk tomorrow, and that risk is going to continue through the weekend. We're at 76 in Ocean City as we continue to see that onshore flow. The good news is, look at those ocean temperatures, upper 70s, but again, watch for that risk of rip currents into the day tomorrow. We're at 76 in Bethany Beach, 75, Rehoboth, 78, Milford to 77. Laurel, winds pretty breezy out there this afternoon. We've seen gusts upwards of 25 miles an hour, and we're going to continue to see that onshore flow over the next few days. Now, we are improving as far as the air quality is concerned. We're at a moderate level today. We were at unhealthy yesterday, and this is only going to continue to improve as that easterly flow pushes this upper level wildfire smoke back off to the west, so you will see bluer skies in the days ahead. Now, the watches and warnings that we have over the next few days are primarily coastal impacts. We have the rip current statement primarily for the rip current threat, and then we also have small craft advisories up through tomorrow evening. Further to the south, Ocean City, Chincoteague, the same thing. High risk of rip currents. You could see waves as high as 3 to 4 feet, and small craft advisories are through the weekend. Now, we do have a coastal flood statement for the Back Bays. This is due in part to high tide. This kicks in at 11 o'clock tonight, runs through tomorrow morning, so some of those flood-prone areas could get inundated thanks to the high tide. We had a few spotty showers and sprinkles, but those have since pushed off to the west. And this area of low pressure, just kind of sitting out here, is going to eventually lift off to the northeast and provide us with that intense rip current threat through the weekend. Tonight, partly cloudy. In fact, some of us dipping into the lower 60s away from the coast, mid to upper 60s at the coast. And tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds. Again, another really nice day, below average, humidity tolerable. No, at the coast, we're at 77 Rehoboth, 80 Dewey Beach, a bit more clouds over in Chincoteague through the southern part of the peninsula. There's that high risk of rip currents along the Delaware beaches through Ocean City. Waves 2 to 3 feet with that east wind at about 19 miles an hour. Clear skies through tomorrow afternoon. Another pretty nice evening tomorrow as we go into Saturday morning. Could see a few upper 50s to lower 60s west of Coastal Highway, and then we're looking at plenty of sunshine through the weekend. A very nice weekend with humidity remaining quite tolerable. 81 on Saturday, partly cloudy. We'll see mostly sunny skies into Sunday with highs around 83. There's that area we've been telling you about over the past few days. Hurricane Center dropping it even further. We may not even see this turn into a tropical system, but in any event, it lifts off to the northeast and provides us with that rip current threat with that system developing and that easterly flow. But overall, a very nice weekend shaping up as that system skirts off to the northeast. We're going to see plenty of sunshine. Now, that area of high pressure is going to slide off to our southeast as we go into next week, and that's going to allow, well, unfortunately, for the return of that humidity and heat. And we really see that humidity kick in Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Dew points will be back in the 70s, and there you see well above average August 13th through the 17th. Gorgeous weekend. We're up to 86 on Monday, and then there's those 90s making a return middle of next week.
Thank you, Chris. Tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network, your game of the night at 7:30, it is Zap skimboarding. Then catch the final score at 10:30.
What is day 4 of the White Marlin Open? An estimated $7.3 million in prize money on the line.
We are going to take a look at the leaderboard sponsored by Rudy Marine.
There is one white marlin on the scales, the Bill Fisher of Ocean City. That was yesterday. They brought in the 72-pound white marlin. And the blue marlin category, 92.5 pounds from Barbara Bree, still on top there. In the tuna category, Mama C brought in a 95-pounder.
In second, No Limit with a 92.5-pound catch. And third is Don't Ask with 61 pounds.
I like that name. Barbara B is the leaderboard again. That's a lucky boat in the dolphin category with a 32.5-pound catch.
In second is Rochambeau with a 27-pound catch and Sweet Freedom with a 26.5-pound catch.
Now at this time there is no qualifying fish for wahoo or swordfish, and we were just saying only 13 boats went out today, so not expecting
a lot of action.
Too much more today.
White Marlin Open leaderboard coverage is sponsored by RudyMarine.com, where family boating begins.
A 22-year-old U.S. Army soldier has been arrested for allegedly trying to send secret military information to Russia. Federal prosecutors say Taylor Lee shared details online about a special tank and tried to give info to somebody he thought was a Russian spy. Lee is an active duty soldier with top secret clearance. He's now being charged under the Espionage Act.
Let's look outside into Ocean City. One more check on our forecast after this.
Friday, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV. It's full of features, cool things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up for our Feel Good Friday newsletter at coasttv.com/signup.
And as we take a look at our skater meter, brought to you by Active Pet Solutions, we'll keep that level at moderate through Friday and through the weekend. Humidity levels still pretty tolerable through the weekend, so that is certainly good news. And we have our umbrella winner, Linda Harris, Ocean Pines, Maryland. You're the winner of our umbrella. And as we take a look, you can get your forecast anytime, as always, by dialing the First Alert weather phone, sponsored by Brockstead, Mundalis, Federico. Now, your 10-day forecast shows high around 80 tomorrow. High risk of rip currents at all the shore points, so keep that in mind. Make sure you swim near those lifeguards. cards, and I think that high risk will continue through the weekend. We gradually get more sunshine with each passing day. The weekend looking really nice. Then humidity and temperatures begin creeping up, especially as we get into the middle part of next week. We're looking at highs generally in the lower 90s, and then we'll throw in a few afternoon storm chances Thursday through Friday.
All right, Chris, thank you, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we're going to see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.